turn to the ongoing Senate probe into the multi-billion shilling mosquito nets procurement at KEMSA. And Principal Secretary Engineer Peter Tum today sought to distance himself from blame in the scandal, saying the malaria program was not under his department, but that of the Public Health and Professional Standards. At the same hearing, officials from Global Fund requested to share more details about the bungled tender behind closed doors. This prompted the Senate committee to ask journalists to step out of the proceedings. Gloria Melimu with the details.
As queries to shed light into the botched 3.7 billion shillings tender at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA continue, inquiry into the alleged irregularities in the procurement of long-lasting insecticidal nets was yet again characterized with blame games, as immediate former Principal Secretary for State Department of Medical Services, Engineer Peter Tum, distanced himself from the bungled tender.
My department was not involved because, according to the executive order, it is within that malaria program was under the ministry, the State Department for Public Health and Professional Standards.
Is it still correct, one PS, to say that officers within your department were not involved?
The Executive Order number 1 of 2023, dated 6th January 2023, explicitly assigned the malaria and TB functions to the State Department of Public Health and Professional Standards, while the HIV function was assigned to the State Department of Medical Services. It's you at any given time.
Similarly, the Jackson Mandago-led committee was treated to a showdown when officials from the Global Fund were pressed to explain whether there was concurrence regarding the specifications of the nets and what Global Fund was going to finance.
Who advised the then PS to write to KEMSA to tell KEMSA that they had omitted this PBO, yet you're the primary recipient of the funds, yet you're the one who goes through the pre-tender requirements and you notify the Ministry of Health.
Why is your officer writing to another officer? There is a mix-up here.
Ministry of Health, they know government protocol very, very well. You can see that letter which they had written to give us requisition and specification. They had written direct to our PS. But the one which to change specification, they wrote direct to KEMSA. Reason nobody knows.
In what seemed to be a move to allow the Global Fund team, led by Stephen Mwirori, the fund's Director of Planning, to explain what transpired that allegedly saw the fund excluded in some communication between the Ministry of Health and the Drugs Authority KEMSA, Global Fund requested to give the details in camera upon the suggestion by Chair Mandago, forcing journalists to be kicked out of the session. Whatever transpired behind the closed doors is yet to be known. On what informed the selection of WHOOPS-approved pyrethroid long-lasting insecticidal nets as opposed to the synergist pyperonil butoxide PBO nets, the National Treasury said Global Fund was only procuring pyrethroid nets, therefore the tender document only included the mentioned nets. According to the National Treasury, the nets are being procured by two funding entities, the Global Fund and U.S. Presidential's Malaria Initiative, PMA. At least 12.6 million pyrethroid nets were to be funded by Global Fund. Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakumincha is expected to appear before the committee on Thursday next week. Gloria.
To pile more pressure on the Kenya Kwanza administration, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition